Hello there, and welcome back to War Thunder. Today I have a really great first impressions gameplay on the new French battle rating 7.3 rank 4 heavy tank, the Somua SM. And this is not a review, although I talked you through my first impressions and also quite a lot of numbers. And I have some really nice gameplay, especially the end is really fantastic. The beginning is a bit slow, but that doesn't matter because there I then can describe you the tank. And in a nutshell, it's like a scaled up Panther. That's it. In fact, the armor and the mobility are really similar, only the gun is kind of different. So let's begin with the armor. The sight profile is big, huge, and it's only a flat 40 millimeters of thickness. So that is not good, and in full up tiers, with BMP2s, etc., they can punch easily through as a lot of SBA, and not even talking here about tank shells. Then there is the front. The lower glacis is 60 millimeter and the upper frontal glacis is 90 millimeter, both at an angle of 55 degrees. So the line of sight thickness is around about at its best 150 millimeters, but the actual thickness only 90 millimeters. So conventional guns will punch through and you're a one shot. Then there is APDS, there is APFSDS, for example from the T55AM. When you fight this tank in a full up tier, it's not fun. And also hash and heat and what else. So yeah, your armor not really that great, but therefore you have a good mobility. 16.6 horsepower per ton ratio is not bad with a top speed of 40 kilometers per hour, but then also a not so great reverse speed of 6 kilometers per hour. So yeah, a bit like a Panther, but for a tank that is described as a heavy tank with a bit more of a medium tank mobility, it could be worse. Then we come to the turret and the gun system. And so you have an oscillating turret that limits your gun depression to 8 degrees, which is workable, and 15 degrees of gun elevation, which in certain situations might be better. And then we have the turret rotation speed, which is actually pretty good with 30 degrees per second, and the elevation speed is 5 degrees per second, so a touch better than the World War II standard of 4.5 degrees. So then we can talk about the ammunition. And this is both good and not so good, depending on the battle rating, depending on what enemy you face. You have only access to two shell types. The first one is the HE. 1000 meters per second master velocity is impressive. 18 millimeters of penetration, not so much. It's not a HESH shell, it's not a heat shell, it's just an HE shell. Maybe versus certain potato trucks, yeah, okay. And then the AP is the 100 millimeter obus de rupture, I hope I pronounced this right, and it's an APCBC round without a TNT filling. So it's also 1000 meters per second and 273 millimeters of penetration. So you can see it has quite a smack. It has a really fast reload as well because of a 4-second autoloader with overall 8 shells capacity and 1 in the breech, so you have 9 shells. This is both good and bad. So if you have lightly armored targets or you have their weak spots, you can pump out a shell every 4 seconds, but therefore you have no stabilizer, and your armor is also not that great, also on the turret by the way, and you have no TNT filler, and you have no heat shell as backup or something like this. So it's a little bit of a one-trick pony. If you fight something like an IS-6, like an IS-4, IS-3, a mouse, and they are heavily angled and they wobble around, it's not so easy for you to hit the weak spot and also to do considerable amounts of damage. Yes, you can go pixel hunting, but that's not really always great. And I judge this tank by being a premium, so you have to play it for dozens, hundreds of battles. In a down tier though, this can be really good. Now this is a Tiger, so easy side penetration even though it's angled. Follow-up shot, we only track him, that was a bad aim. He smokes up, we aim for the middle, and that's the kill. So if you don't aim properly, as I just demonstrated here, you will run through your ammunition quite significantly. Quite quite quick, that is. And you can see how long it takes for a shell to go back into the ready rack. And if you shoot, you interrupt this reloading process. So you have to play around capture zones, or you have to just always have a certain downtime to let the shell reload. This is why I was not hasting so much on the kill on this German M41 Walker Bulldog. I thought there is another German heavy tank somewhere there, so I was always looking around, but I didn't see him, I didn't hear him, but he was scouted for a moment. No idea what happened to him, so I move on. Yes, that's really risky, but you know, for once it seems like I'm getting away with it. So, we have okay gun handling, we have decent mobility for a heavy tank, more in the regions of a medium tank, and the gun is different to what other tanks offer you. And that is down to your personal liking. Do you like French tanks? Do you like to have this rapid reload? And you can work around not having a stabilizer and not so great armor? Then this tank is decent. But what about, you know, you getting city fights all the time, you're fighting the Brits all the time with their 6.7 Maniac 20-pounder APDS stabilized quick reload guns? It depends what you personally prefer, what you actually fight. And when you get shots like this, it's satisfying. Don't get me wrong, the tank is satisfying. You saw that I blew up the ammo rack on this Panther. The ammo rack, aside from the autoloader, is actually also on the side of the hull. So it's a tank that gets ammo rack really easy. But again, look at the mobility and the maneuverability. So it's still mobile, but it doesn't have neutral steering. It's a tank of compromises, trade-offs. It also doesn't have a heavy machine gun. It also doesn't have, as I said, some fancy shell types. No, it's only this one AP shell type. So if you had no problems playing the British with their solid shots, then you will really like this tank. And also, it still can do the job. Beautiful. So this is now where it's the cleanup phase and where I was not really that effective so far, but I disturbed the enemy team on the flank apparently enough that also the rest of my team was having a good time. And then we actually get the Anti-Mech award for 5 kills, so that gave us a massive 40,000 civil line bonus. And yeah, 1 kill, 2 kills, and just for good measure, there is 3 kills. That's the power of this gun, right? The quick reload, the good penetration versus lower tier tanks. It's incredible. As an ambush tank, as a tank that just, you know, has to use situations, you can get away with the solid shot because you can put in a disabling shot, for example, the gun breach, or, you know, knock out the driver, and then before the tank can normally react, if you catch him by surprise, if you're standing 90 degrees to the side, for example, you reload before he does. And the autoloader also means you don't rely on your crew skills, or if you're only down to 2 crew. So even with only 2 out of the 5 crew members, you still can operate this tank at more or less full capacity. But, you know, be aware of how many rounds you have in the ready rack. So here I just wanted to get here after the M36 Slugger that just killed here this tank, and I was looking around. Now, you know, we had all the objectives. We have the map superiority. They are on the losing end. We have defeated their team. It's just clean up. Sorry, but when patch day is, don't be the honorable fool. So that guy just spawned. And instead of shooting with the machine gun and testing if he has now gone out of spawn protection, I just sacrificed a few shells. And I also thought, man, is this guy a tank, or is it just a turret lying on the floor? Well, doesn't matter. That is kill number 9. And yeah, it's just a turret. So in this cleanup phase, this is where you get the civil lines. This is where you get the RP if you survive. And I'm really interested in surviving because that gives extra civil lines. And also because, you know, I just have a good match, I worked for it, I want the reward, right? And so here I just want to flank the spawn of the enemies. I mean, just look at the minimap, there are so many tank of ours all around. And then I see an aircraft, and yeah, he has those big rockets. So I angle in and double ace, and I survived it. And I shot actually that wing off where the rocket sat that would have killed me. Just to add insult to injury for this Focke-Wulf 190. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this match. So we won it, and I think I did a fairly good job. Big bomb just to make sure that they are dead, and there it is, we won the match. Heavy Metal Hero Survivor, multiple of other awards, 9 tank kills, 1 plane kill, and that was just fantastic. Because this is a test drive, I don't get the full premium bonus as if you would buy this tank. So 115,000 silver lines, but we also won a mission objective and orders with 38,000 silver lines. Please keep this in mind. 2 assists, great result, just the perfect match for me to show what the tank can do in the best of circumstances. But this is also Mostock, a big map where I can breathe, think, and just plan my approach. And that's it for me today. So I hope you enjoyed this first video of the new patch, which by the way is the first patch that doesn't carry a number. And with that said, that's it for me today. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Please give this video a like if it, subscribe if you want to see more, and we'll see each other on the waves, in the skies, and on the battlefields of War Thunder.